Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what a nice return to Queensland. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Lovely. So how are you guys all doing? How's the last 2 days been? Amazing? Fantastic. Great. First of all, what I wanted to do was just honour and respect every single one of you for the effort that you've put in so far. And what you're doing this weekend is just the start of a journey. It's the start of a journey for a lot of you this weekend. And as I mentioned when I came up on Saturday, was that this is like coming to the mental gym and the emotional gym. For a lot of you, we train our bodies and we get them physically fit, but how many of us actually work on our mind? How many of us actually feed our mind to give us those solid foundations to then go and create the life that we want? How many people really do that? How many guys? Not an awful lot. And the people that do, you'll see a huge difference between the people that do something and the people that don't. You know, why is it that if I go to most Western countries, I go to Australia, New Zealand, USA, all over the place, and why is it that most people are unhappy, broke, and unhealthy? It blows my mind because none of us went to school, did we, and thought to ourselves, well, I want to be unhappy, I want to be broke, and I want to be unhealthy. Did we go to school and have those dreams, those thoughts? Yes or no? We didn't, did we? Most of us, what do most of us want? What do most of us want? What do we want? Happiness, fantastic. What else do we want? Wealth. How much wealth do you want? All of it. Do you want it in abundance? Would you like it in abundance? Absolutely. People want to be healthy, they want to be happy, they want to be wealthy, okay? But what happens as human beings, what we do is that we set up a blueprint, and we have a blueprint inside of us that guides us through life. And unfortunately for most human beings, the blueprint they set up for their lives is not an amazing and fantastic blueprint for them to go and achieve the results they want. And what I want to do tonight is help you shift that blueprint and beyond tonight, moving forward. And here's the interesting thing. Most people don't work on their mindset. They don't work on their psychology. They don't work on the foundations. And here's the thing. You might want to write this down. Everybody wants $1 million salary, but they've got a $2 mindset. I'll say it again. Everybody wants $1 million salary or $1 million income, but they've got a $2 mindset. Does that make sense? And I see this so much. I see this a lot with clients that come to me and they'll say, Craig, I want to be a millionaire. I go, you know what, that's absolutely fantastic. It's a great dream to have, a great goal, a great aspiration to have. But if you don't have this right, if you don't have the psychology right, I can tell you now, either one, you're not going to take the action and you won't have the desire to go after exactly what you want, which is to become a millionaire. Or two, if you create it, you'll lose it. You'll self-sabotage it. How many people win lotto? How many people win lotto and wish they never won it? I'd say about 95% of people that win lotto say, I wish I never won it. It created so much drama in their life. They've gone from having a fairly normal life to something where they're not used to, and people fall into depression, anxiety, sadness, all types of things, all because a lump of money's been put in their lap. It's interesting. People that say are earning $40,000 a year, and all of a sudden they're given, let's say, $2-3 million. That's a huge shift. That's a huge change. Is it or not? Absolutely. So for a lot of you sitting here tonight, you're saying to me, Craig, I have the aspiration, I have the goal, I have a dream to be a millionaire. Yes or no? Yes. Put your hand up if you want to be a millionaire. Wow, all the room. But I want you to think of this. What are you earning right now to where you want to go? Then that will give you an estimation of, okay, this is going to be a journey. It's going to take some time. Okay? It took me 12 years. I set a goal at the age of 19 by the time I was 21 to be a millionaire, but that didn't work out. It wasn't until 31. But I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew it. And I started to set a blueprint up inside of me that said, that's it. That's where I'm going. And tonight what I want to do is share with you a formula. I'm going to share with you a formula that allowed me to go and create amazing results over a period of time, okay? My life hasn't been perfect, nowhere near it. I've had a lot of ups, I've had a lot of downs, and we have to have those in our lives. It's called polarity. We need polarity in our lives, okay? So what I want to do tonight is this. I want to talk to you about that 5-step success formula. I want to talk to you from changing from that $2 mindset to that $1 million mindset. Because if you don't, I will tell you now, most of you will hold that being a millionaire as an ideal, but you don't truly want it. It's an ideal, and some of you will take some steps to get there, but then all of a sudden, blockades, challenges will come up, and most people, what do when challenges come up? They do what? They retreat. They say it's only about 1% or 2% of the population that become millionaires. So 1 or 2% of the people in this room will truly do it. Now, if I could show you something that could shift your psychology and change your blueprint and get you there in a much easier fashion, in a much more speedier time, would you be interested in that? Fantastic. So let me share that with you. Now, what I want to do is this. Before I do that, this year I took up Ironman this year, and I went over to Hawaii this year and I competed. Now, before that, if you were to ask me, okay, could you do an Ironman or do you want to do an Ironman? I would have said no. I said, no, I can't do that. I would have had excuses, or they're called beliefs. I would have had beliefs around if I could or I couldn't. All of you have beliefs, okay, around everything. I had a belief around that said, you know what, for whatever reason, I don't want to do it or I can't do it. And then in my peer group, I've got an incredible, amazing peer group of people. Jamie, Mark Rolton, who's speaking tomorrow, Matt Browning, who's speaking tomorrow. I've got an amazing peer group of guys. And I looked at my peer group, and there were 3 or 4 people in my peer group that have done Ironman and have done and competed in Hawaii. So by hanging out with these people, it started to give me references to what? I could do it. So by doing that, I had my good friend, my amazing friend, I love him like a brother, Mark Rolton. He said to me, he goes, what are you making excuses for? Come on, you're the man who teaches psychology. You're the one that should be able to get yourself into a state to go and compete. What's going on? And he said to me, he goes, you know what? I'm going to send you a link and I'm going to share something with you. And if you can't do an Ironman after you watch this, I don't know what I'll do. I give up. So what I want to do with you right now, I'm going to share with you a video. I want to share with you a video, and then I'm going to come back up on stage. So if we can just play that video. Thanks, Robbie.
Who taught the sun where to stand in the morning? And who told the ocean you can only come this far? And who showed the moon where to hide till evening? Whose words alone can catch a falling star? Well, I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. All of creation testifies. This life within me cries. I know my Redeemer lives. The very same God who spins things in orbit runs to the weary, the worn, and the weak. And the same gentle hands that hold me when I'm broken, they conquer death to bring the victory. Well, I know my Redeemer to take away my shame. He lives forever. I'll proclaim that the payment for my sin was the precious life He gave. But now He's alive and there's an empty grave. And I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. Let all creation testify. Let this life within me cry. I know my Redeemer lives. Let all creation testify. Let this life within me cry. I know my Redeemer. I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives. I know my Redeemer lives.
Is that inspiring? That's Rick and Dick Hoyt. They're the guys that inspire me. That's what got me going. When I first watched that, I must have bawled my eyes out for 10 minutes. And I said to myself, Craig Jervis, what's your excuse? There's a man that will take his son and swim 4 kilometres with him in a boat. So he's towing another person. See everyone else? Everyone else is able-bodied, correct? And he's still kicking people's asses. Do you see people behind him? He's got a boat behind it with his son in it, and he's still kicking their ass. Then he picks his son up. And he walks him over, puts him on a bike, and then cycles 190 kilometres. 190 kilometres. And then he finishes the race, and he puts his son in a pram or a running pram and runs a marathon. This is the type of stuff that moves me. This is the type of stuff that moves human beings. This is the type of stuff where I say to you, are you truly tapping into your true potential? As you sit in, I appreciate your honesty because someone just said no, and I heard that, and I appreciate your honesty. And I could honestly say probably for 99% of the people in this room, 100% of the people in this room, you're not tapping into your true potential. And tonight what I want to do is share with you a formula, a 5-step formula that will allow you to do that and go and produce extraordinary results. This formula has allowed me to create businesses. People ask me, they go, how do you run businesses? You speak on the road with these guys all the time. We travel a lot with these guys at the back here. How do you stay healthy? How do you train for an Ironman? How do you look after your family, your friends? How do you find all that time? And most Australians get home, they do one day of work, and they sit in front of the TV and they go, I'm buggered, I don't want to do anything else. Am I right or wrong? Absolutely. They'll sit in front of the TV, and I call the TV the stop box, because it stops you from telling somebody that you love them. It stops you from connecting with your children. It stops you from creating the wealth that you want. For a lot of you right now, it's hitting home, and that was the whole point of it. I wanted you to sit there and say to yourself, what's my excuse? Why am I tapping into my human potential, my full human potential? Because what I want to do from this moment on is not only impact you, but let you leave here with value. Give you a tool, a strategy that you can use free of charge that I was taught myself. Now, the only reason I get to share this with you is because other people shared with me. That's all. That's the only reason. Write this down. The secret of living is giving. The secret of living is giving. And when you guys decide to work this out, you truly become wealthy. Truly become wealthy. Do you remember a gentleman by the name of Sir John Templeton? Billionaire. Absolute billionaire. They said to Sir John, give us one thing, give us one piece of advice that would allow people to become wealthy. And he said this, write this down, gratitude. Gratitude. And when I worked this out, I worked out giving and I worked out having gratitude. And gratitude for what you have, where you are right now is where you're meant to be. Where you are right now is where you're meant to be. Life doesn't let you move on until you learn your lessons, my friends. I'll say it again. Life doesn't let you move on until you learn your lessons. So if you keep repeating the same old behaviors, you're going to keep getting what? The same old results. Interesting. So if you're repeating the same old behaviors and you're getting the same old results, what's got to change, guys? What has to change? Who said that? Behaviors. Spot on. Your behaviors have to change. Yes, you change, absolutely. As your behaviors change, you change because it's your psychology that's changing. Okay? Spot on. But here's the thing. As I said to you guys, if I can just borrow your book for a second. As I said to you guys, you'll buy this weekend, hands up if you've bought a program already, if you've bought a share trading program or a property program, anything. Just put your hands up for me. Fantastic. Well done. Congratulations. You're now making change. We're now going to start creating different results, correct? Absolutely. Life is going to shift for you instantaneously. But as you get home and they send you out your home study and your big shiny package, there's going to be what? There's going to be a book there to show you how to set it up or tell you how to do it. There's going to be a DVD set and away you go. Correct? But let me ask you a question. Who gives you the manual for this? Who gives you the manual for this for your brain? To say, hey, you know what? This is how you shift behaviors. If I want to become a millionaire, that's what I do. I just know how to do voila, away I go. And I'm on that path. You heard George say just before. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to become a millionaire overnight. It's about what? Small what? Steps. I can tell you now, it is the small steps that count, my friends. Everybody searches for these huge, big epiphanies. What I want you to do is search and look for the little distinctions. The little steps that you take and create along the way is what creates you as a human being. It's what creates your life, the life that you got. A lot of you beat yourself up because you feel you're not getting these big, huge results. And guess what? Every single one of you is successful. Every single one of you is successful, but you're blind to it. A lot of you are blind to it. And now's the time, and what I'm going to do this weekend is awaken your consciousness. Awaken it so when you look at your life, you go, you know what? I'm grateful. I know where I am, and it's a great place where I am. And I'm proud of it. But guess what? I know I can do a couple things. I can grow and I can make progress. Who's interested in growth and making progress? Fantastic. Let me share a quick story with you. It was only just this week with myself. I was beating myself up because I had this realization in my head, this idealism that in my head that I had to be in a relationship. Because society says, when you're 36, my God, you should be looking at marriage and children, correct? That's society. And I was always in and out of relationships. And I went and saw a relationship coach. I sat down and as I said, I have my own coaches, okay? I'm still being coached myself. I look for the people that have got the most extraordinary results, and I'll pay the money to go and see them. And I sat down with his coach. I said, you know what? What's going on? 3 months into a relationship, I backed myself out. 3 months into a relationship, I backed myself out. What's going on? He took me through a series of questions, and it was absolutely phenomenal. The breakthroughs that I had in this session were amazing. And it got me to understand was one thing. Right at this moment in my life, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be in one. It doesn't mean I'm a commitment phobe. What it means is this. I'm still finding myself as a man. And I'm more than happy to stand here in front of you. I don't feel weak standing in front of you telling you, well, I'm still finding myself as a man. So I can tell you now, majority of men still are. And when I do, and when I find myself, whenever that will be, over the next couple of years or the next month, whatever that is, I'll be ready to step forward. So it can happen to the best of us, my friends. And that's why I'm here to say, you know what, I'm waking you right now to say, guess what? You are where you are because that's where you need to be. I'll say it again, write that down. You are where you are because that's where you need to be. Now, let me show you one thing. For a lot of you, what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do when you get a challenge or a problem in your life? What's the first thing people do? What is it? Pardon me? Stress. What else do people do? Yes? Kick the cat. Yes. Most people, when they get challenges or problems in their lives, they kick the cat, they get really cranky, they get upset, and all of a sudden they get stuck in this place. And they're not, what are they focusing on when they're kicking the cat, sir? Focusing on lashing out. They're focusing on their problems. They're focusing on what they don't have. They're focusing on a life that they don't want. Whenever I get a problem or a challenge, and I was taught this about 13 years ago, you come in my office or my home and it's very different. I celebrate when I have a problem or a challenge in my life. I celebrate and I say, thank you, God, I'm about to grow. Hands up if you'd love to get rid of all your problems and your challenges. All right, put them down because you don't want to get rid of them. I'll tell you why. You don't want to get rid of them. Your problems and your challenges are here for one reason only, to make you grow. If you didn't have problems or challenges, life would be what? Mundane and boring. So the next time you get a problem or a challenge, celebrate. You heard Jamie say yesterday, he said, you know what, the challenges and the problems I have now, I would have paid to have those challenges or problems 4 years ago. I had a client this year, paid $21,000 for 9 sessions with myself. And we got to the 3rd session, and he said to me, he goes, Craig, I've made these huge shifts, these amazing progress, but guess what? He goes, my challenges are getting bigger. Yes, they will. They will. So what I want you to do, my friends, is celebrate and say thank you and show gratitude when you have a challenge or a problem in your life because you're about to grow. Okay? So let me show you what happens when you give somebody the manual to their brain.
When I was born into this world, my mum gave me life. The man standing behind that camera right there, Craig Jervis, he showed me how to live my life. I was in this world before, my heart was still beating, still breathing, still eating, but I wasn't getting the most out of life. I had these inner desires, inner ambitions that I knew I could fulfill. I knew it was my God-given right. You know, I deserved to have these things in my life, yet I did not know how to achieve them. This continually did my head in year after year. Craig, what he effectively gives you is a manual on life, how to live life. You know, no one's born with a manual. There's people out there that have this information and knowledge, and Craig is one of them. There's people you meet in this world that you just treasure them, and as soon as you meet them, you know that they're a very important person in your life, and they're going to have a huge impact on your life. And this is what Craig has done for me. He has shown me how to live. Woo-hoo!
As you can see, you can tell why I love my job so much. When you have that impact on somebody or amount of people, it's probably one of the most fulfilling things you'll ever experience in your life. And let me ask you a question. How many of you, let's be honest, how many of you have a mentor or a coach that you get together with once a week and go through things, plan things, strategize, look at behaviors, all those type of things? How many of you got a coach or a mentor that you get together with? Okay, great. That's normal. That's normally the numbers. About 3 people in the room. If you look at any successful person, what's one of the things they've had in their lives? What is it? Mentors and coaches. Mentors and coaches. Let me ask you a question. Why does Tiger Woods, the best golfer in the world, why does Tiger Woods have a golf coach? Obviously, he needs another coach at the moment. Okay? I'd be happy to work with him on that. But why does Tiger Woods have a golf coach, though? Fantastic. Keep raising the bar. What else? To what, sorry? To better his game, yes. Nothing's ever perfect. Keep him accountable. Spot on. Different perspective. There you go. Beautifully said. Everything that you said was absolutely spot on. Keep him accountable? Absolutely. But the one thing a coach will do for you, what happens when Tiger swings, can Tiger see his entire swing? No. The coach is an outside set of eyes. A coach is there to maybe point a couple of little things out to him to tweak. Do you remember back to the board break when some of you didn't break it the first time round, but you did it the second or the third time? I was there coaching people to show them how to tweak their strategy by one little thing, and all of a sudden, pop, they break the board. That's what a coach is there for you. That's why you have to have a coach in your life, because if you keep repeating the same old behaviours over and over again, who's there to tell you that you're doing that? You'll eventually work it out, but some people don't. Eventually you will. It may take you 1 year or 10 years or 20 years. But wouldn't you like to have someone there to just show you that and say, hey, just tweak that and save you a whole lot of pain? Yes or no? Would you be interested in that? Absolutely. So let me share with you this 5-step success formula. I want to share this with you, and let's get moving. So write this down. So number one is this. Number one is know your outcome. Okay? Number one, know your outcome. Number 2 is create desire. Create desire. Number 3 is take massive action. Take massive action. 4, understand the results. Understand the results you are receiving. Understand the results you are receiving from your actions. And step 5, last one, is change your approach. Okay, so number 1, know your outcome. Number 2, create desire. Number 3, take massive action. Number 4, understand the results you are receiving from your actions. Understand the results you are receiving from your actions. Step 5 is change your approach. So let's look at this. Every successful person knows their outcome. Every successful person. Look at someone let's look at Mandela. Mandela was locked up for 27 years of his life against his own will. And in that time, do you think Mandela was hanging around a peer group that wasn't too empowering at the time? He was in jail. He's with murderers and rapists and looters, all types of stuff, okay? Kidnappers. But there's one thing that Mandela did, and he did the polar opposite to everybody else. What Mandela did is that he read book after book after book after book whilst he was behind bars for 27 years. And then the guy leaves jail. He walks out of jail and says, forget what happened, let's run the country together. Now, would you excuse Mandela if he's a little bit bitter about his life? You would. But he walks around with a big smile on his face. He looks like the most happiest man in the world. And he is. Let me ask you a question. Did Mandela have an outcome? Of course he did. He knew his outcome. Here's a little thing, a little distinction for you. Mandela read and read and read. The more good stuff you put in, the more good stuff what? Comes out. Simple science. It's basic 101 psychology. But how many people actually do it? All of you said you have an outcome of becoming a millionaire. Let's see how committed you are to that. Let's see if it's an ideal or it's a true goal and outcome. Look at someone like Mother Teresa. She was born in Macedonia, went to Calcutta, India, and she was teaching. That's where she started. She was teaching primary school students. She enjoyed it, and she went to the nuns and she said, you know what? I don't like what I see outside these four walls. I see people with no food, no shelter, no love, no water. I want to go out and make a difference. Let me start with one person, and let's just see what happens. So they let her do it. What happened? Global icon. Lady passed away. She passed away with $3 million in a bank account. Giving. The secret of living is giving. Did Mother Teresa have an outcome? Of course she did. Absolutely. Let me turn the spotlight back around to you. Let's talk about Friday night. Friday night, Jamie holds up the piece of wood, and most of you went, what? Oh shit. Correct? But here's the thing. We taught you a strategy, a step-by-step strategy, a 7-step strategy, and then all of a sudden, did you have an outcome? Absolutely. Did you get your outcome? Fantastic. So you took action around that outcome. But what we did is that we taught you a strategy. And what I do when I work with people is teach them strategies on how to take action and teach them strategies on how to change their behaviors at a psychological level. Okay? So you have an outcome. Let me ask you a question. You have an outcome and you want to go from point A and you want to go to point B. So this is where you are. That's your goal or your outcome. Hands up in the room if you believe it's about achieving your goal or your outcome. Hands up if you believe it's about achieving your goal or your outcome. Okay. Let me share with you. Hands up if you believe it's not about achieving your goal or your outcome. Okay. 50-50. Let me share with you what it is. It's actually not about achieving your goal or your outcome. Because what happens, the first thing human beings do in life is this. They achieve their goal and they say, what's next? And then they set another goal, they achieve that goal and they go, what's next? What they're missing out on is this. They're missing out on the journey. But it's the journey that creates you as a human being. It's the journey that's created your life. It's created you as a person. It's made you strong. At times it may have made you a little weak. You may have felt a little bit of pain. But that little pain has allowed you to what? It's allowed you to grow. This is why you must have gratitude for the place that you're at and the journey that you're on. Can you change your journey? Do you believe destiny is preordained or do we create it? Ooh. I believe half-half. That's only my belief. I believe it. Some of it's preordained, but there again, we have to get out there and what? Take action. And responsibility and accountability. Spot on, man. Absolutely. I come across a lot of people, and a lot of people do this. They'll go, oh, my destiny's already created, and you know what? God's created, so I'm just going to sit on the couch and whatever happens, happens, because I know I'm going to end up where I'm meant to end up. Bullshit. We have to get out there and take action. We must get out there and take action. But before you take your action, you've got to know what? You've got to know your outcome. This is why you have so many people out there taking action, but they have no idea where they're going. It's like a ship in the night with no rudder, hoping the seas will take you to a place of somewhere, but guess what? You end up nowhere. So you've got to get pinpointed, guys. You've got to get outcome driven, outcome orientated. Okay? It is a must. I'll say it again. You must become outcome orientated. It is an absolute must. Now, very quickly for me, when I first wanted to become a coach, for instance, I saw a human being on stage with 4,500 people in a room, and I said, that is me. I don't care what it takes. That's me, and that's what I'm doing. Has it been an absolute journey? Oh my God, has it been a journey? A journey of self-discovery. Huge self-discovery. There's been pain, there's been pleasure along the way. But I've always known what? I've always known my outcome. Have you noticed when I talk, I come from a place of what? Absolute certainty. You'll notice in my life, and you can talk to the guys at the back, I come from a place of certainty always. When I decide something, I come from that place of certainty. I go, that's what I want. I don't care what it takes to get there, and also by using truth and honesty and integrity, absolutely, to get what I want. Now, the second step, create desire. Now, this is what, write this down. Beside this, I want you to write in brackets, why. Why. W-H-Y. What's my why? Now, this is really interesting. Hands up in the room if you feel you don't have your purpose worked out just yet. Let's be honest. Okay, fantastic, great. Guess what? I can work out your purpose. I can get you to work out your purpose in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And it's very simple. Would you like me to show you? Oh, you're like, yeah, shit, yeah. Okay, whenever you set... Okay, let me reframe this. Most people believe that their purpose has to be this big, huge thing that's wrapped around their job, and it's that big that they get what? Overwhelmed. Let's break it down and make it very simple. And this is how we make it simple. When you understand your outcome, the first question I ask myself is this. Most human beings ask themselves, how? And what happens, the brain says, this is how you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough energy. And all of a sudden they go, oh my God, you know what? I don't know if I really want this. The first question I ask myself, write this down, is why? What's my why? Why do I want this? Because what happens is that your why gives the brain an understanding of why you're going after what you want. So the first question I ask is, what's my why? So for me, my why behind becoming a millionaire was to look after my parents for the rest of their lives, to be able to contribute to charities, to have leverage, to have choice, to have freedom, to be able to travel, to help other people, to set up a global foundation. I have so many whys that I have what on myself? I have leverage. So when you understand your why, it gives you leverage that then allows you to take what? Action. So all of you can become purposefully driven any time of the day that you want. All you need to do is understand what's your why behind what you're doing. Here's a little tip, write this down. When you do a list of whys, I want you to have at least minimum 10 whys. At least minimum 10 whys. When I look at my whys, I make sure my whys are very holistic, and I look at all types of stuff. Okay? Now, Your why will do this. Every time you understand your why, the how will just avalanche through. I'll say it again. When you understand your why, the how will just avalanche through. When you become purposely driven, you're so purposely driven, it's just like, bang, get out of my way, here I come. The how just avalanches through. And it is amazing when you go through this process, and I do this in my program, where I take people through this process, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I never realized, one, how simple this stuff was, because you got someone there to what? Someone there to show you and coach you and mentor you and hold your hand along the way. One of the best things about a coach is this. A coach will show you the small distinctions between average and extraordinary. They will have the strategies to be able to teach you that, to show you the difference between average and extraordinary. And that's what I do. But you need to understand your why. Now here's the thing. When you create desire, you know your outcome, you create desire. What normally pops up for people? I can tell you what normally pops up for people, and it's called beliefs, limiting beliefs. Now, for a lot of you, I'll get some of you to set goals which will absolutely stretch you. And you'll sit there and go, I can't do that. And you'll have every excuse under the sun on why you can't do it, on how you don't have enough time, how you don't have enough money. This is what I was saying before. When you don't understand your why, the brain will just tell you, well, this is how you won't achieve it, okay? So, beliefs. A belief, I'll use the coffee table metaphor. I'll use a coffee table. A belief starts off as an idea, okay? And what we do is that we then search for references. So we search for references to make it into a belief, to make it into a table, to make it what? Because if a table has legs, it makes it what? Sturdy, strong. So we look for, and we want to create the legs underneath the table to make it strong and sturdy, okay? So we search for references that then creates that belief, okay? So this is how beliefs are formed. A belief is first formed as an idea. It then goes from an idea to the belief when you search for the references and you look for the references. Let me give you a perfect one. When I first started on this journey, one of my limiting beliefs was money was the root of all evil. How many of us have heard that before? Yes, look at most of the room. So I had this thing in my head, this belief that money was the root of all evil. Do you think that was going to allow me to become wealthy? No way in the world. It was going to hold me back every step of the way. So what I would do is then once I was told that, which is an idea, I'd then go and search for what? References. So I'd search for references outside of that idea to back it up and to prop it up to make it into a table. So I'd go, okay, well, money's the root of all evil. And I go, okay, well, I've come across a few rich people before and they were quite rude and nasty to me for whatever reason. It might have been the state they were in at the time, or they may have been having a bad day, but that's one reference. And then I can look around and go, oh, you know what? There's so many drug dealers out there that are so wealthy and they've got so much money. Money's got to be the root of all evil. And then I look around and I go, oh my God, you know what? If people drive Ferraris and Porsches, for sure, you know what? You've got to be unlawful to be wealthy and drive those type of things. Prop, another reference. All of a sudden I'm creating what, my friends? I'm creating the coffee table, which is what? The belief. Spot on. So let me show you something. Let me show you a simple success cycle. And I want you guys to write this down. A simple success cycle. This is how success works, okay? Now, success works. Here's the first box. And I want you to write in this box belief. Up here, I would like you to write. Now I'm going to write HP. I want you to write human potential. Human potential. Fantastic. Over here, I want you to write actions, and then the last one is results. Okay, let me show you how the success cycle works. Very plain, very simple, okay? Does everybody in this room have human potential? Absolutely. Everybody does. Okay, great. Does everybody in this room have the ability to take actions? Great. Does everybody in this room have the ability to receive results? Okay, fantastic. So let me show you how the success cycle works. If you tap into a little bit of human potential and you tap into a little bit of actions, you're going to get a little bit of what? Results. Then you start forming limiting beliefs because the brain goes, see, I told you so. You're not that smart. You're not that strong. I told you couldn't do it. And then all of a sudden you're building what? Limiting beliefs. So for a lot of you, when you bought your program this weekend, for a lot of you, when you get home, if you tap into a little bit of this and you tap into a little bit of that, you're going to get a little bit of what? And then you're going to start creating beliefs around why you can't be wealthy. Then a lot of you will come back and go to 21st century, the program doesn't work, I want a refund. No, the program doesn't work, you don't work. You need to be fixed. Well, actually, you don't need to be fixed, you just need to be helped along the way. Okay? Now, because we know the strategies are proven, my friends. Every single person that graces this stage is talking from what? Experience. Absolutely. Let's flip that, conversely, let's put it on its head. If you tap into a huge amount of this, human potential, and you tap into a huge amount of actions, you're going to get a huge amount of what? Then the brain goes, see, I told you so. You are strong, you are vibrant, you've got everything that you need, and all of a sudden you're creating what? Empowering beliefs. For a lot of you, look at this. Most human beings, actually, let me share this with you. Very quickly. 3 paths of life. Write this down, the 3 paths of life. Number one, the dabbler. Number 2, the stressor. And then number 3, mastery. Number 1, dabbler. Number 2, stressor. Number 3, mastery. This is where people start creating limiting beliefs. And I'll show you. These are the 3 paths of life, okay? Number 1, the dabbler. This is the person, and this is where I see probably about, I'd say 90% of the population. They dip their toe in the water, and then they try it out, and they go, oh, not for me. The dabbler, let me give you a perfect explanation of the dabbler. The dabbler says this. They go, I'm going to take up a new sport, tennis. And they go down to the sports store and they buy all the tennis gear, they get the tennis racket, they get a tennis coach, they join the tennis club, and all of a sudden the tennis coach is teaching them how to hit a forehand and a backhand. In the first 4 weeks, they're going, wow, this is great, I'm really learning, I'm what? I'm growing. So I'm growing, great, I'm getting much better at tennis. Then the coach says on the 4th week, he says, you know what, I want you to change your grip from that grip to a Western forehand grip. So I want you to hit more topspin over the ball. So when you hit more topspin over the ball and you're just learning to hit topspin, what happens is that the ball goes where? Into the bottom of the net. Okay? The dabbler goes, stuff this isn't for me, I'm not getting the results that I want. I feel like I'm going backwards, I'm going to go and take up a new sport. So I'm going to take up racquetball. So they go down to the racquetball shop, buy the racquetball racket, get the racquetball clothes, join the racquetball club, get a racquetball coach. 4 weeks into it, same thing again. The coach says, I want you to change your grip. I'm going to show you a few more angles around the court. Show them. All of a sudden, they're not getting the results that they want. They go, this isn't for me. On to what? My next sport, whatever that is. Okay? Starting to sound familiar? This is where human beings start creating limiting beliefs because they're dipping the toe in the water and then they're jumping back out for whatever reasons. The second path of life is the stressor. The person that will go for 3 months really hard, stress, then they what? Burn out. Give you a perfect example, very quickly. Ex-girlfriend of mine. 3 months. Okay, I've had a few of those. I've got some really good experiences, okay? Now, what would happen is this. She'd sit on the sofa, she'd be watching Ellen and Oprah, and she's having a great time, and she's eating crap, and after 3 months, she gets up, she gets in the mirror, and she says to me, she goes, Craig, and I go, oh, here we go, here come the questions. Honey, does my butt look big in this? Am I getting cellular? I'm going, don't answer these questions because you're going to get in trouble. You can't win. You know you can't win. You can't win. But what she's doing is this. She's starting to focus on what? The pain. She's focusing on the pain of what the body's where her body's shaping and going into. So guess what she says? She goes, right, that's it. I'm going on the fad diet. I'm going to get on the lemon juice diet. I'm going to train really hard. I'm going to get myself a personal trainer. I'm going to eat well. Away I go. So she does. Stress. 3 months, loses the weight, and what she do? Poof, burn out. Back on the sofa watching Ellen and Oprah. 3 months later, away she goes again. This is why the stressor will always burn out. Willpower, what happens to willpower eventually, my friends? Teeters out, burns out. This is why you've got to understand behavioural strategies. If I can teach you behavioural strategies that will serve you for the rest of your life, would you rather that? Absolutely. The last one is mastery. This is the path you need to be on. You need to be on the path of mastery. What is the path of mastery? It's understanding the small distinctions. The path of mastery is like an apprenticeship. It's a journey. Write this down. Wealth is a journey. Wealth is a journey. Now, there's a guy in the States called Bernie Siegel. He's a professor from Yale. Incredible human being. And he's a psychologist, and he was working with people with split personalities. And he was working with these people with split personalities, and this is what he found by doing when he was working with them. When they split from one personality to the next personality, things would happen. Eye colour would change. Disease would disappear. Diabetes, high blood pressure, gone. Scarring, birthmarks, disappear, gone. Google it. Bernie Siegel, one of the most incredible professors you'll ever come across. This is my point of telling you this. Every time that person would split a personality, what is it that they've got that's helping them split and allowing them to change? What is it? It's a belief. Spot on. This is how powerful beliefs are. They stuck monks. They stuck monks in the snow, and all they wore was like their caftan, a very thin caftan, right? They were sweating because what they could do was meditate on the heat, and they could make themselves so warm and so hot through what? Beliefs, through your mind. This is how powerful the mind is. Most of you sitting there right now going, is this guy shitting us, or is he telling us the truth? This is why I've studied this stuff for 20 years, guys. This is what allows me to be an authority to talk on this subject. Because I've gone out there and experienced certain things, and I'll read things, but one thing I do is this: I always talk from one thing. I talk from experience. Beliefs are one of the two things, write this down, the two things that will stop people from being wealthy and happy and fulfilled and healthy is this: limiting beliefs and negative emotions. Limiting beliefs and negative emotions. Okay. Now, would you like me to show you how to create beliefs? Create empowering beliefs? Yes or no? Yes. Would you like me to show you how to create empowering beliefs? Yes. Okay, great. Because guys, if you create empowering beliefs, it's going to change your life forever. If you create limiting beliefs, it's going to change your life forever. What would you rather create? Limiting beliefs or empowering beliefs? Great. So let me show you. Hands up the people in the room. Hands up the people in the room that use affirmations. Hands up if you use affirmations. Wow. Now keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. Have a look around the room. All the people with their hands down. Have a look around the people with their hands up. Okay, put your hands down. Let me share something with you very quickly. Affirmations. I'm going to teach you something called affirmations on steroids. Affirmations, write this down. Affirmations are psychological delusionment. I'll say it again. Affirmations are psychological delusionment. And I'll tell you why. Let me explain to you why. For the people that don't know what affirmations are or don't use them, this is what most of these people will do with affirmations. They stand in front of the mirror or they stand in front of the wall and they'll stand there and go, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful. Or they'll go like this, or they'll go, I'm lovable, I'm lovable, I'm lovable. Whatever that may be, whatever affirmation they use. But whilst they're doing that, they're going like this, they go, I'm successful, I'm successful, I'm successful. And the little voice in their head's going, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Am I right or wrong? That little voice there is going, no way, pal. Bullshit. Would you like me to show you how to cancel out that little voice? You'll never cancel out the little voice forever, never. But you can cancel it out at the time where you want to create an empowering belief. Okay? Now, what I'm going to teach you is something called faith builders. They're called faith builders because they're going to show you how to create beliefs and faith around what you want. Okay? Now, do you guys know what this is? What's this called? The triad. What's the first side of the triad? Physiology, okay? What's the second side of the triad? Focus. And the last one? Language. Okay. Now, let me show you the difference between an affirmation and a faith builder. So when you're doing your affirmation and you're standing there and you're doing your affirmation, when you do your affirmation, are you engaging your physiology at an intense level? No. Your physiology is basically dead. You're standing there like this, just going, I'm lovable, I'm lovable, I'm lovable. The little voice is going, bullshit. Are you engaging your focus at an intense level? No. Your language, are you engaging your language in the way that it wires you for success and empowering beliefs? No, you're not. Some of you who use affirmations, you're already ahead of everybody else, so you're halfway there. I'm going to show you a path of mastery, a small distinction that will change your life forever. Let me show you. Let me show you a faith builder, because here's the thing. To create a belief or to make a shift in your psychology, you have to make a shift where? In your nervous system. You have to make a shift in your nervous system. So let me ask you again, when you're using an affirmation, are you having a shift in your nervous system? No. That's why all you're doing is this. You're trying to trick the brain and bludgeon it to believe it. But what's the brain doing? What's the brain saying, guys? What's the brain saying, guys? Exactly. So let me show you how to do faith builders. Now, this will knock your socks off. So this is what a faith builder is this. So listen in and watch what I do. So I'll do something like this. I now command my subconscious mind to allow me to attract love, wealth, and guidance in avalanches of abundance, in multiple streams of abundance, and be guided as God's child. Now, is that very different to an affirmation? Absolutely. Am I engaging my physiology? Am I engaging my focus? Listen to my language. I now command my subconscious mind. I'm sending a command to the subconscious mind. Straight away, I'm overriding that little voice. I now command my subconscious mind to allow me to attract love, wealth, and guidance. Get ready. In avalanches of abundance, in multiple streams of abundance. So all of a sudden, I'm sending a command and I'm saying, I'm going to receive this how? In what? Avalanches of what? Abundance. in multiple streams of what? Abundance. I do this in the shower. And I'll tell you why. Maybe this is why I've scared off so many girls. But anyway. So, okay, this guy's a lunatic. I'm out of here. No wonder it lasts 3 months. Okay, so this is what will happen. I'll get in the shower. Most people get in the shower and they'll waste 10 minutes of their life. They'll waste 10 minutes of their life. In my shower, I have a glass screen. I have a glass panel that runs down the shower. I have my goals up on the glass panel with contact over them. So whilst I'm in the shower, I can read my goals. I'm not wasting time. Now, do I have downtime for myself? Absolutely. Am I like this 24/7? No. If you know anyone like this 24/7, I want to know what they're on. And get me a bag of it, all right? So the reason I do it in the shower is this, guys. Not only am I not wasting my time, it gets me started for the day. And this is the other trick. As I'm doing it in the shower and the water's hitting the back of my neck, and I'm going in avalanches of abundance, multiple streams of abundance. All of a sudden, I'm anchoring it into my nervous system. Guess what? I turn the shower on, I'm ready to go. Because it's an anchor, it's there. Do you guys know what an anchor is? Have you ever heard, you've been driving down the road, you heard a song and it took you back to a time and it remembered you of your first love or when you had sex in the back of a panel van or whatever it was? That's an anchor. It'll get you to remember something. For me, every time I get in the shower, boom. Every time it hits the anchor. I'll use other ones. I'll use one of these and I'll go, every day in every way I'm getting stronger. Every day in every way I'm getting stronger. Every day in every way I'm getting stronger. Listen to my language. Every day in every way I'm getting stronger. Notice that I engage my physiology, my focus, and my language. It's ingrained in my nervous system. Can you see right now where I'm at? Like I'm just like ready to go. When I step out of the shower, I'm like freaking Superman. But I am. I'm ready. I'm so focused and I'm so ready to take on the world with whatever it is I have to go and do that it just happens what? Automatically, naturally. Because it's ingrained in my nervous system. Okay? I'll share a very quick story with you. I was doing the Ironman and I came out of the swim. I get on the bike. I'm cycling along and here's what my mind was doing because I wasn't controlling it, right? The mind's going, what are you doing, you idiot? Why are you punishing yourself? So I'm going through all this negative talk. So I'm cycling along and I'm down on my bars, on the tri bars on my bike. I'm cycling along and I've got all this negative talk going on. I'm saying to myself, come on, Craig, you're the guy who teaches this stuff. Oi, move, shift. So I said, right. So I said, okay, all right. Every day and every way I'm getting stronger and stronger. And I went, okay, it sort of gets me going, but it's not really there. I need to what? I need to tweak it. This is the awareness I have. So this is what I said. Every K in every way I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every K in every way I'm getting stronger. And all of a sudden I'm going, woof, 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 and all this energy. Look, I've got goosebumps. I've got energy coming through me right now. And all of a sudden this energy comes through me and I start moving through the field. And as I'm cycling along, I'm yelling this out. Every K and every way I'm getting stronger. And all these people are going, guess what? They got out of my way. They let me through. These are the small distinctions, my friends, that will make an incredible life for you. This is the stuff I had to work out over 20 years, and I'm now sharing it with you in a 1.5 hour session where I'd love for you to start using this stuff. And I shouldn't call it stuff. They are tools and strategies for success. And you need to start using these things. When I started doing these, I started doing them, and I started in an apartment block. I used to live in an apartment block. And I'd turn the music up really loud, and then I'd do it over the music. But then I said, well, hang on, who am I handing the power of my life over to, me or my neighbours? And in the end, I said, you know what? I'm handing it over to my neighbours. Blow the neighbours, music down, into it. Of course, when I walked out, they'd all look at me going, who's this crazy so-and-so? Wouldn't get in the lift with me. I always had a free lift. That was good. But you've got to start using this stuff. Now, take massive action. You've got to take massive action, okay? Now, massive action. What happens for people when they take massive action is this. The first thing that comes up for somebody is that they have what? A story. Hands up if you've got a story. Every single one of you have a story. The story on why you can't achieve what you want, on how you're not good enough, on how you don't deserve it. And this happened to me as a kid, so you know what? I don't know. I can't achieve it. Stories will hold you back. Stories will give you a life of being shackled and handcuffed to your what? To your past. Write this down. Change your story, change your life. Change your story, change your life. Would you like me to share a story about my story? Yeah? Okay. So, when I first started in this industry, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, okay? Now, I was living with a good friend of mine who was quite a famous DJ in Australia, and he, you know, a DJ's lifestyle. They play music late at night into the early morning, they drink, take drugs, and that's their lifestyle. Come home, sleep, go and do it again. Well, he went into chronic fatigue, okay? Developed chronic fatigue. That then went into manic depression because he was sleeping 18 hours a day, get up and eat and go back to bed. That was his life. So he moved in with his parents, and about a year I hadn't spoken to him. And I heard all these amazing results about him and what's going on and all this feedback. So the first thing I said to myself is, well, how's he doing this? Okay? So I rang him, I said, Bill, it's Craig. I said, I've heard this amazing stuff. I heard you're back in the gym, you're running a business, you're in a relationship. You know, what is going on? How did you do this? That's the first question. I said, how? He goes, Craig, there's two things. He said, the two things are this. He said, I made a choice. And the second thing was, I went and saw Tony Robbins. Hands up if you know of Tony. Great, most of you, fantastic. He said, Craig, if there's one thing that you do before you take a dirt nap, before you die, what I want you to do is go and see Tony. Because I was working in corporate, I had all the money, I had all the clothes, I had the houses, the cars, and I was still what? Unhappy. I was chasing money, but I still wasn't happy. So I went and saw Tony Robbins with two of my mates. And we got there and we're at the Rod Laver Tennis Arena and there's 4,500 people there to see one human being. And that just blew my mind. So the first night, Tony teaches us a strategy on how to walk across 4,000 degrees burning coals in your bare feet. So if you don't understand or know the strategy, you're going to have little stumps, okay? So we walk across the hot coals, and the first night blew my mind. The second night took me into another stratosphere. The third night, I didn't even know who I was, okay? Tony allows 3 people to share at the end of the seminar what they got out of it, what they're going to do with it. And they go to one side of the arena. This gentleman stands up, he shares for about 5 minutes. They go to the middle of the arena, this lady shares. She shares for about 5 minutes. They come to my side of the arena. I've got my mate sitting next to me, one mate behind me. I have no idea what came over me. But I stood up on my chair and I said, hand me the microphone. Tony Robbins looks up and goes, obviously that man knows his outcome, give him the microphone. So my mates are going, oh shit, don't do this. And they're going, we don't know this guy. So I stand up and I share about my life, everything. And I talk about how I was using my stories from when I was a kid to when I was an adult, to when I'm chasing money and not chasing purpose and not giving. And I was talking about how I had everything that I always pictured that I wanted, materialistically, but I was empty inside. And I shared, and I, as you can tell, I'm not short of a word, okay? I shared for about 15 minutes. I think everyone in the crowd's going, oh my God, will this guy hurry up? But my mates are going, oh shit, we don't know this guy. I stop, I sit down, 4,500 people get up out of their chairs and give me a standing ovation. And I touched them in such a way that allowed people to start making shifts in their lives. So Tony calls for a drink break. He says, go and get some water. I said, boys, you want to come and get some water? No, we're staying right here. We're fine. So I go out and I'm at the kiosk and I'm getting these bottles of water. And no word of a lie, there was a line of about 600 to 800 people lined up just wanting to hug me and kiss me and congratulate me for the courage that I showed. I had 60-year-old women crying, tears down both cheeks, saying that you're a leader, you're a change agent, get out there and help people, you inspire people. And it was in that moment that I made a decision. I drew a line in the sand. I stepped over that line and said, I commit to help people for the rest of my life. And I walked back into that room and that was it. It was done. I'm going to help people for the rest of my life. Story doesn't end there. I set up my business. I'm working in all the high schools in Australia. And I was working for Dell at the time. I walk into Dell Tuesday morning. I walk in, I've got my firewalk strut, okay? And I walk in, I sign my resignation, and my boss and CEO go, so what are you going to do? I said, I don't know, I'm going to help people. And they said, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know, and walked out. But what did I have? What did I have? I had what? I had an outcome and I had purpose. And once you know your purpose, what avalanches through? The how. Spot on. So then I set up this business and I'm speaking in the high schools in Australia and I'm helping and empowering teenagers. And that was some of the most fulfilling times in my life. It was phenomenal. 3 years into it, I find out that my business partner's a fraud and left me in 150 grand worth of debt. He skipped the country and I was left basically with my pants down. Most people, what would they do then? They would what? Retreat. I didn't retreat, I just tweaked my strategy. Guess what? Dell heard I was back in the marketplace. They said, do you want a job? I said, do you want to hire me again? I go, yep. And they sent me over to the UK. I helped them build a business over in the UK. I then got taken over to Singapore, where I was running a $750 million business. $750 million business with 80 people under me for the whole of Asia Pacific and Japan I was responsible for. So, getting paid amazing money, had everything that I wanted, and then I get this phone call. I get a phone call from this headhunter. He said, Craig, are you interested in having a conversation about working for another organisation? So I'm always open to a conversation. He said, guess what? Would you like to go and work in Paris? I said, now I'm listening. He said, this company wants you to go to Europe and help them set it up, and this is what they want to give you. And I was offered, just in shares and options in my package alone, just to go, I was offered $12.5 million in shares and options, which vest over a 5-year period. So I can pull 20% of those out of the company every year. I was going to get a $300,000 sign-on bonus. My salary was going to be 300,000 euros, and they were going to give me a $60,000 grant to invest back into the company to buy more shares and options like I needed them. And I said to the guy, I said, look, I need to have a think about it. Let me come back to you. And he goes, you need to think about this? I said, yes, let me think about it. I'll come back to you. So I hang up and I'm sitting in my apartment. I said, who shall I call? And I wasn't like overly excited, but I was like, I felt good. I'm like, wow, these guys are offering me a lot. This is going to set me up for the rest of my life. So I ring my best friend, my brother. I love him like a brother, Mark Rolton. He's speaking tomorrow. You must be in the room for this guy. He is amazing. He is phenomenal. I ring Mark. I said, Mark, are you sitting down? He goes, yeah. And I said, Mark, I've just been offered all of this. And we had this little celebration. And he goes, Craig, let me ask you a question. I said, yeah, what's the question? He goes, what do you need to do? I said, what do I need to do? Well, I need to go and help other people. He said, well, go and do it. And I said, but Mark, come on, look, 5 years. 5 years. He goes, Craig, what do you need to do? I said, I need to help other people. He said, well, go and do it. Come on. He said, I'm going to tell you one thing and then we're going to end this conversation. He said, for the past 6 years, you've been the most miserable bastard on this planet. He did. He said, you've been chasing the ego, the nameplate on the door. He said, you've got everything that you want. You've got the houses, the cars, the money, the clothes, the holidays, but you're still miserable. Plonk, hung up on me. That was it. I'm sitting in my apartment in Singapore going, okay, I've really got to figure this out. And this is when it was time to step up and be really truthful with myself. And I asked myself 3 questions. I said from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, what do I feel about this mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? And it was all around 1s and 2s. So what did that tell me? What did it tell me? Wasn't the thing to do. Don't do it. But what would most people do? They would filter the truth and do it anyway. Exactly. And I said to myself, I'm feeling so much pain from working in corporate, I can't do this anymore. If I do it just for 5 more years and I have all this money, then I can truly help people. Interesting story. So I ring the headhunter back on Monday and I said, you know what, mate? I feel so honoured and blessed that you've offered me this, but I'm going to say no. And all of a sudden I hear this. He's fallen off his chair. He goes, so you're saying no? I said, yeah. And he goes, so what are you going to do? I said, we're going to help people. He said, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know. This is why I get to stand on this stage and share with you these things. Because I've known my outcome. I've created the desire and the why around that. Have I felt some pain along the way? Absolutely. And I had to do that to truly understand what my gift is and show how much gratitude I should have for what I do. And when I came back to this, my God, did I take the world by fire because it was like a different person. I took massive action. Now, I start to understand the results I was receiving in corporate where I felt so much pain. I said, what? Enough's enough. Write this down. I burnt my bridges. I burnt the bridges behind me. I burnt the bridges. And then what I did, guys, is this. Step 5, I changed my approach. Here's the approach. This is how I changed my approach. I looked at this and said, do I sell myself out to corporate for another 5 years? Or Craig, do you step up and be a freaking man? Do you step up and be truthful and get on purpose and be truthful to who you are and what you stand for? Don't be hypocritical. If this is what you stand for, go and do it. And guess what? I've earned 10 times more than what corporate will ever give me from doing what I love and from being on purpose. This is where, my friends, you have to stand up and be truthful to yourselves. When your heart or your gut tells you something, that's right. But most of us do what? We override it and kick in with our analytical side, and then we justify it and we try and justify everything in our mind to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We've got to get truthful with ourselves. So what I want to do with you is this. If we just go back to my slides, please. I want to share with you just a couple more testimonials of people that have been through my program.
Hi, my name's Serene and I've just recently completed Craig's program. Well, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. At first, I was worrying about the money it was going to cost me, but then I thought to myself, let me invest in myself. Okay, I was going to be doing an options course and I thought hand in hand with Craig's program, this would really get me the results that I wanted. I tell you, my focus is so clear, my goals are so clear, and Craig has given me the tools and the strategies to really leap beyond my wildest dreams. And the best thing about it is, I've got all the recordings. So anytime I feel myself slipping a little bit, I can always go back and listen to him. You've got to do this, folks. It's just amazing.
So here's the interesting thing. A lot of you will be sitting there right now going, gee, she's a little bit over the top. She's a little bit too much. But it's interesting, in society, we're taught to what? Be average. When someone comes out with a lot of energy, and she is a beautiful human being, and most people will sit there and go, settle down. Oof, just settle down a little bit. And we teach each other on how to suppress our emotions and not be true to ourselves. And in life we're taught it's not good to feel depression or it's not good to feel sadness. Yes, it is. It's okay, guys, to feel it. And it's okay to feel passion and excitement. But what happens is that we've taught it's not good to feel that, and it's not good to feel that, so what do? We sit where? In the middle, in this grey area where we just walk around and go, how are you doing today? You go, good. It's the normal response. Instead of say, how are you doing today? I feel absolutely outstanding. Something completely different. You change not only your state, but somebody else's state. Okay? Let me show you one more.
Hi, my name's Paul. I've done Craig Jervis's trading psychology course, and I got to say that I was mightily impressed with it. I went live trading back in end of June this financial year, and I got to say all the apprehension that he mentioned would be there was definitely there, as you felt the pain and the pleasure of commencing your trading. And even as I've gone on, you find that you've still got that to learn to manage, but I can only encourage anyone before they start trading to consider doing the course, because it just opens your eyes to the emotional mindset that's got to be managed when you're trading, because it's just critical. You have 20% strategy and 80% mindset, and I can say from your heart that's definitely what it is. And yes, just in the last month I've seen a slow turnaround as I've managed to manage my emotions better and change my state of mind. And even this week, yes, this morning I had over 20% return on my money overnight. And for anyone that's considering doing trading, the thing that you must do is Craig's trading psychology course, because it just makes you aware of the issues that you have to deal with when you're doing live trading, and I can't endorse it any more than that.
So Paul came to me. He's a 21st century member. He came to me and he blew up 2 accounts, 25 grand he blew up, and then he decides to come to me. I'm like, dude, you got this the wrong way around. He was sitting in the audience just like you guys, which a lot of you will be sitting there right now going, I don't need a coach, I don't need this psycho stuff, just show me what? Just show me? Let me show you how you're going to tear it up very quickly if you don't have what right? The mindset. Let me ask you something. Paul, was he understanding the results he was receiving from his actions on his first time round? No. Second time around? No. But then he finally decided to what? Change his approach and said, I'm going to get myself what? A coach. Okay? So if we just go back to my slides.
Hey, my name's Travis. I did Craig's course about 3 months ago, and it's taken me from a place where before I had insecurities about myself. I had a lot of ideas, a lot of ambition, but didn't quite know how to put it all into plan. Craig is a bloody legend. He is a passionate, supportive, informative person who has held my hand every step of the way, and he's taken me from a place of where I was unsure about things to now where I have absolute certainty in myself, absolute belief in what I'm doing, and absolute knowledge that it's going to happen. He has quite literally transformed my life. He has transformed every aspect of my life, with my relationships, wealth, health. He's given me, he's allowed me, to dive inside myself and find out what my real purpose of being on earth is. Help me to nourish that, help me to bring that out, help to give me a sense of urgency so I can go out there, grab life by the balls to say, and just go and do it, and just make it happen. And I can honestly say this, Craig can do this for anyone. What Craig teaches is applicable to anyone. If you have a brain in your head and a beating heart, this applies to you. And I promise you, you would not regret doing Craig's course. He delivers.
I want you to get the most out of what you're doing, what you're investing in. So my friends, if you want to come and talk to me, I'm going to be down the back. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your engagement tonight. I know it's been a long day. I just want to honour and respect every single one of you. I wish you all the best on your journey, because it is a journey. And if I can be there as a coach, a friend and a mentor, I'd love to do it. So thank you so much.